Oh, this you crazy mother.
I'm alright. I completely missed. Go again!
Fucking hell, nutter.
So I actually made that table out of scrap wood from the skate park. I stapled a bit of carpet to it. That thing's a beast. That ramp was always made from leftover wood from the skate park, including the rails and stuff.
No, Sam.
I think I shit myself.
Some of you are laughing right now. It wasn't supposed to be that long. It wasn't supposed to be that loud. My cat was doing all this sort of kung fu shit, and to put her in her place, I thought I'd do a little fart. It was like the whole world come out my ass. And I didn't know whether to be ashamed or kind of proud. Some people do huge farts and they're really proud of it. You can see that sort of smug look. I was a little bit shocked, to be honest. So was my cat. If my cat's playing up, being disobedient, if I do a little fart in her area, she soon calms the fuck down. It's like, who's a daddy? I'm the fucking daddy, and then she fucks off. So finally, I've got all the timber into storage. I've de-nailed and de-screwed a lot of it. A lot of it's decent. I salvaged more than enough for all the projects that I've got going on in the future. Ticked them all off. So I need to carry on from the last video. I purposely put that last video out to sort of start a discussion, because I knew it would start a discussion. A lot of clips in that video, good 5 years old. Some of them are even 10 years old. And yeah, I never used to wear a helmet. I was a fearless bastard. That's how I looked at it. They call me the fearless bastard. Baskett the fearless bastard. He don't wear a helmet, he don't wear pads, he don't give a shit. And to be honest, I never used to give a shit. I'll happily admit, before Grace came along, before I was in a sort of healthy relationship, I didn't give a shit. I'd send myself off anything. People call it out, I'm fucking off it. You call up a gap for me, I'm fucking over it. And like I said before, that's always my motto in jumping a big gap. As long as your body makes it over the other side, it doesn't fucking matter. Same with mountain biking. But a lot of the time, I much prefer the mountain bike comes with me so I don't break it, because it costs a fucking fortune. And one thing I've got to stop on this channel is swearing. I've had a few complaints from sort of older people. They're like, my kid watches your channel, you swear quite a lot. I do apologise. I'm known as common as muck. I'm quite a common lad. You know, I grew up on the estate. I swear quite a lot. I did quite a few shotties when I was younger. Shouldn't have done them. Me and the lads drinking White Lightning on the public benches. But the way I look at it, I always had that kind of street knowledge. I grew up on the streets. And yeah, White Lightning, my nan used to give it to me. $2.99, 3 litres. Hit the spot nicely. Helmet issue though. It is a big issue, and a lot of people were moaning because I wasn't wearing a helmet in the last video. This is the way I looked at it. Every time I used to do these big gaps and stuff, I didn't want to pad up, purely for the fact I felt like every time I was padding up, putting on a helmet, I was padding up for disaster. There were certain gaps I did, even if I was padded up, I still would have been really badly hurt if it had gone wrong. Simple as that. That's the way I looked at it. That was my mentality. Things have changed, I've got a little bit older, a little bit wiser. My mentality has completely changed. I wouldn't ride a bike without a helmet now. Every time I come off the ground, I've got my helmet on. Apart from that time in Florida when I was on that little shit bike. Didn't have a helmet then. But if I'm doing crazy shit now, helmet all times. A lot of times these days, I'm kind of like a mentor for the younger generation. I've got to be that role model. They see me wearing a helmet, doing this crazy stuff. They're kind of like, right, I'm going to wear a helmet as well.
Oh my god!
That was legit.
See, growing up, all the people that I rode with, crazy bastards, none of them wore helmets. So I copied. That's how it goes. I look in all the magazines, see all these street riders, no helmets. Watch old props videos, no helmets. I watch Little Devil, Criminal Mischief, Seek and Destroy, Square One, Wide Awake Nightmare, all the street clips, no helmet. Etnies Forward, no helmet. All the best street clips in there, no helmet. And that's how it was. I'll happily admit there were times when I wish I was wearing a helmet because I caved my head in a lot of times.
Alright. Did you hit your head?
Yeah. And even the best street riders in the world do some gaps and they always go wrong. No one perfects huge gaps. Sometimes they hesitate, sometimes the bike malfunctions, sometimes their body malfunctions, sometimes you get a bit of wind, that takes you out, or sometimes there's a car. No one's a perfectionist at jumping big gaps. That's what I like about it. I mean, some people probably watched that video and thought I was a fucking idiot. You didn't even like it, got a few dislikes on that video. Is it because of the helmet issue, or don't you like people sending big gaps? Some people hate it. When I used to make edits in the past and put them online, I used to get a lot of shit. People used to say, there's no skill set in what you're doing, Baskett. No skill set whatsoever. And all I'd turn around and say, I understand it doesn't take skill, but it takes a fucking massive set of ball bags which I'm going to rest on your forehead in a minute, mate, if you keep up with that shit. But what you've seen in the last video is kind of like how I ride my BMX. Some people were kind of like, I didn't realise you rode BMX like that. I did do quite a few gaps last year. A lot of people has come in recently and all they've been watching is kind of like the mountain bike stuff, forgetting I actually do ride BMX. It's just because of the season change and the weather is horrible. I've been riding mountain bike more. And another big reason why I put in all those sort of big drops and stuff is because when I put up a video the other day of me and Lewis doing that kind of rock drop setup, we both landed it a little bit rough. I bottomed out my suspension, so did he on his. And he's got 200mm. The whole setup with it, the takeoff was soft, the landing was soft. I don't have much confidence in landing that bike to flat.
Fuck.
See, that was another gap I did to flat off a roof. See, I've done that same drop on the BMX loads of times. I once 360'd off that roof on the BMX. Landed better than I did just riding straight off on that bike. But every time I ride off something to flat on that bike, I'm a little bit more paranoid because it costs a fucking fortune. I'm pretty much riding off something thinking, I'm gonna have to ring the bank manager in a minute. Whereas on the BMX, I have a lot more faith in the BMX that it's not gonna break. And if it does break, it's a lot bloody cheaper. I'm not made of money. If I was made of money, I would send it off fucking anything. And that's the way of the world. If I was a millionaire, some of the drops I would have done in the past, and I would still do now, but I don't trust that bike. I love that bike, but I don't trust it to do big drops. And some people were like, you should get a full downhill rig. I don't have the money. I'm not made of money. I work hard for my money. Me and Grace have just bought a house, so I've got to make these bikes last. Simple as that. The BMX is fairly cheap for new parts, so I kind of stick with that on doing the big gaps to flat, even though I would prefer to have suspension. But like I say, the enduro bike is not really a bike to do big drops to flat. But one day I will own a downhill rig for sure, but today is not the day. So for now, me and Specialized, I'm gonna have to battle on. I will continue landing flat at times, but I'm always gonna be a little bit paranoid. I'm gonna have Sam Kirk on speed dial. Hello, Amp Cycle Works. Yes, my steerer tube has fell off again. And yeah, no shit, my steerer tube did actually once fall off. When I did that big road gap, I come up short. It actually ripped my steerer tube off. That was the old one, I had a new one fitted. So when I actually landed that road gap, I actually landed it with a dodgy steerer tube. The steerer tube was just holding on when I landed that, and somehow it survived. Well done, bike, you saved my life. So we're deep into Baskett discussion about landing flat on a mountain bike compared to a BMX and the whole helmet issue. I can't say it enough. I don't film with people these days if they're not wearing a helmet. I was up in the woods recently at King's Cliff and there was some matey up there, goes by the name of Spud, and he was flying down the hills with no helmet on. I didn't say anything to him, but I was kind of like, I'm not filming with you, you nutter. Just Because the way I look at it, if I'm off filming with these young'uns and they're not wearing a helmet and one of them does get seriously hurt, I've got to then deal with that. I feel like I'm the mature adult, I've got to deal with this shit, and I don't really want to deal with it. I mean, they break their arm and all that sort of stuff, I'll happily kick that back in place. But if they smash their head in, they're unconscious, I'm going to be like, you deserve that, you weren't wearing a helmet. Because I've learnt my lesson. I've caved my head in a lot of times. People did ask from the last video, have you ever landed on your head? A lot of times. One of the worst ones, head whacks. I said it a while ago. I was doing a tour around Wells Blue School, if you remember. There's that gap I did there. And in that same school, there was a little rail. I did show you it. My loyal subscribers, you will remember this school. I was walking around it showing all the old school stuff, and I said that I took a real bad crash on this short little rail. I actually found a picture the other day. So you can actually see where my peg is. I thought it was actually grinding the top, but it was grinding underneath. Split second after that picture was taken, disaster struck. I hit my head so hard, it just blew out like a fucking potato. I had a potato coming up my forehead, and my nose was all bleeding, even though I didn't hit my nose. I got stretchered to Bath Hospital. Brad Wakefield had to come with me. He had to sit with me for ages. I was there in a net brace looking like a right dickhead. And we was there for a good few hours, and he actually drove me home. Brad Wakefield, legend, and yeah, it sucked. That was the worst head whack ever. It didn't knock me out though. I was up, I was conscious, I was kind of walking around, and I was kind of blind. It was so weird, I hit my head so hard I couldn't see anything. I kept saying to my mates, I can't see anything. As soon as the ambulance turned up, give me a bit of gas, I came back to life. And that's what I'm saying. I put my friends through that situation that day because I wasn't wearing a helmet. I caved my head in, they had to deal with it. But there's another one. Another famous Baskett head whack. The Bone Deaf team were in the UK on a little tour. I was always good friends with Sean Burns. I never met him in person, but we spoke online a lot. Sent clips back and forth. And he messaged me and said they was doing a tour of the UK. They were going to Stoke Plaza. I should go and meet them. I thought, fuck it, that sounds like fun. Going on a street ride with Colt Fake and Sean Burns. So I went up to Stoke with a friend. We were riding the Plaza there. And if you've ever been to Stoke Plaza, there is a ledge that goes through the middle of the place that kind of like goes on a gradual slope. The ledge starts about 2 foot high, ends up about 5 foot high, maybe 6 foot. So I was going on that real fast, doing 360s off the end. Sean Burns is there having a little clap. He was just about to get his camera out, film an angle of it. I said, look, I'll do a few more warm-ups, I want to see how far I could go. So I was cranking it real fast. I went to do a 360 off the end. Little did I know there's a skateboarder sat down on the end of the ledge. So as I went to do the 360, the skateboarder stood up. I didn't have a clue what was going on. My sprocket hit the side of his head. It catapulted me straight down the skate park. I landed on my head really, really badly. I got back up, I was walking around as if nothing happened. Colt Fake, Sean Burns come running over, making sure I was alright. The skateboarder was really apologetic. He had blood coming out of his head because my sprocket had just hit his head. I didn't even know where my bike was. I was walking around like, where the fuck's my bike? But the thing is, I thought I was alright at the time, but I was fucked. It was the equivalent of doing 10 shotties and 10 whiskey shots. You think you're alright at the time, but then the next day you're kind of like, what the fuck happened? Apparently I said goodbye to Sean, I said goodbye to Colt. My mate drove me back home. The street session got rained off anyway. But yeah, when I woke up the next day, most of it was a blur. I came that close to going on a street ride with Colt Fake and Sean Burns. It never did happen. It would have been a good blast. And yeah, I hardly remember even meeting Sean Burns. What a weird situation to be in. And that all happened because I wasn't wearing a helmet. That was the only thing that hurt on the crash. I pretty much landed head first. I'm pretty sure the skateboarder had to have stitches in his head from what I was told, and that was about it. The Bone Deaf tour moved on. I went back home. So yeah, this is sort of Baskett discussion. This is where I sort of talk a load of shit and you come in with your comments. Anything I'm saying that you like, we start a discussion. If you don't like it, you also start a discussion. It's a fucking free world. This is a free YouTube channel. We can all come in together. But yeah, always wear your helmet, kids. And remember, if I turn up to a skate park one day, if I turn up into the mountain bike spots and you're not wearing a helmet, you're not featuring on my videos. That is a fact. And some people could say I'm a hypocrite, but I'm a good hypocrite because I've been through it. I've landed on my head many times. There are days when I get migraines really bad because of it. So I give my experiences to this younger generation so they learn from my mistakes. I've learned from my mistakes, they can learn from my mistakes. Never land on your head without a helmet because it fucking sucks. And yeah, I just started a swear jar because my swearing's terrible. But like I say, I'm common as muck. Grew up on the estate, drinking White Lightning, doing shotties. That's why my videos get demonetized all the time. Every single video I have made in the last 3 months has been demonetized, including the last video. I didn't even talk in the last video, there's no swearing. YouTube always demonetized my videos. In the last year, I've had just over 1 million views overall in the last year. I've made £200. That's all I've made, AdSense, £200. Didn't even cover my fork damage. I think I spent about just over £1,000 in damage repairs on the mountain bike in the last year. About 100 quid on the BMX because the BMX is strong as fuck. YouTube and AdSense don't like me. I monetize, they demonetize. I'm like, fuck off, you spies. They say my videos are not advertiser friendly. Yet, the adverts still play. That's what does my head in. You go back through a lot of the videos, at the moment they're still demonetized. I sort of request a review, but nothing gets done about it. But if you watch them, the adverts still play, so who's getting that money? They're trying to demotivate me to stop doing this channel, it feels. Someone's out there like, this little shit, he's up to no good. I'm not liking his attitude. Demonetize. So he gets unmotivated, so he fucks off. I ain't going nowhere. The way I look at it, if YouTube revenue stopped tomorrow, there'd be a lot of people going to the job centre. I already have a job, so it doesn't matter. If all sponsorship ended in bicycle riding tomorrow, there'd be a lot of people going to the job centre. I'll continue riding, but I've already got a job. It's a very touchy subject, but it's true. How many people out there would still ride bikes tomorrow if all sponsorship money ended? Drop names, you can drop names in the comments if you want, but it's true what I say. I've never been paid a penny to ride my bike. Every single thing that I've done on my bike is just for the thrill of it. There's been no sponsorships whatsoever. I just fucking love it, it's in my blood. So if sponsorship money stopped tomorrow, it wouldn't affect me because it's never there anyway. So I'll continue doing what I'm doing. I've only ever made 200 quid throughout my whole YouTube career. So I don't really give a shit about that. So if the revenue stopped tomorrow, I would still continue doing these videos. And that is the main reason why I started this channel. Because it motivated me to keep riding. I felt like I was sort of building an audience. So he's always watching me do this stuff. And normally through winter, I'll be hibernating along with most of my other friends and riders. But nah, I'm out there busting a nut, having a good time. Just because they demonetize my videos doesn't mean I'm gonna get unmotivated. It just makes me more motivated. It's the same with the haters. There's a lot of haters out there, don't like the way I ride, don't like the way I talk, don't like my videos. But the more they hate, the more it motivates me. Same with you lot. If people hate on you, you should take it as motivation because they're hating for a reason. Unless you are a bit of a dickhead, then you're being hated for a proper reason. But yeah, that is a Baskett discussion. We have talked about helmets. Always wear your helmet, whether you're on a mountain bike or a BMX. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. Baskett discussion. Leave your comments.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, I should have worn a knee pad.